Welcome to the Million Pound Mission Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Shively, the PhD, the previously heavy dude, and I'm on a 1 million pound mission. Now, I've personally lost over 100 pounds, and I've applied what I've learned from my own transformation journey to help my hometown clients lose over 35,000 pounds in just 5 years. Now I'm on a mission to produce over 1 million pounds of results by delivering my best weekly tips, motivation, inspirational stories, and transformation strategies so that you can gain clarity about what you need to do to reach your goals and give you the confidence to take action. And the perfect time to start taking action is right now. So let's do this. Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Million Pound Mission Podcast. It's your buddy Adam, the PhD, the previously heavy dude, and this is episode number 182, Protein, Produce, and Sparkles, the Unicorn, with BJ Gaddour. You're going to love this episode. I'm telling you right now, it is super awesome. Now, real quick, before we dive into the info, I want to let you know that I'm getting ready to launch my 8 marathons in 8 days challenge. It's starting this Thursday, September 27th. I'm going to need your support. Be sure to hit me up on Instagram, Million Pound Mission on Instagram. Follow along, cheer me on, tell me to just keep going every day. I'll catch you at the end of the show with a little bit more info if you want to dive into that. Otherwise, let's get going on this episode. Now, we all know how absolutely confusing the fitness world can be. And we all wonder what program is the best one to use and which nutrition plan is going to give us the ultimate results. And this week, we're going to break down this mess into the core principles of what you actually need to do to succeed. And I'm bringing in my special guest, BJ Gaddour, to help me do this in the most entertaining way possible. All right, BJ is straight up hilarious. We had a great little vibe going. And I think you're going to be highly entertained by this one. Now, BJ has an awesome transformation story. He transformed himself from being this pudgy kid into a fitness cover model. He's an author. He's put out several fitness DVDs. And he's a former fitness director for Men's Health magazine. So that's one heck of a turnaround, right? Now, how in the world did he do this? I'll tell you. He has been extremely consistent with the fundamentals, and he's had a little help from a magical fitness unicorn named Sparkles, which you will find out about in this interview. What else do we talk about? We talk about his own transformation journey from fat kid to cover model. We talk about the fundamental things that we all need to focus on for better results. We talk about the big mistakes that he's seeing people make as they try to get in shape. And we give a top action step at the end where he talks about, something that people should do that are just trying to launch their fitness journey and be successful that first time. So he gives a lot of great advice, and he kept me laughing throughout the entire interview. I know you're going to love it. Now, he does use some adult language, some maybe crude humor, we might call it. It doesn't bother me, but if that bothers you, then you may want to skip through this one. But I would give it a shot. Give it a shot, because even if that's not your jam, if you can get past that, there is so much great information. I know that you're going to love it, and you're going to get a few laughs along the way. So here we go. Episode 182, Protein, Produce, and Sparkles, the Unicorn, with BJ Gaddour. All right, BJ, welcome to the Million Pound Mission Podcast. How are you doing today, my friend?
Dude, I'm great. Happy to be here, and hoping we can add more to the Million Pound Mission today.
Yeah, we're going to bring some unique mojo. I know a little bit about your background story, and I feel like you're the first other PhD that I've brought onto the show where we have a similar story of transformation now inspiring other people. And that's where I want to start, is your own transformation journey, kind of that point when you were making that decision of, okay, I've got to get my shit together and start getting healthy, and what that looked like for you.
Well, I was overweight my whole life growing up, and it kind of culminated into a lot of excess weight by the time I was 17. And I'll never forget this cruise I went on. It was the Millennium Cruise in the Caribbean. It's supposed to be like a beautiful tropical vacation, and it's about to be the year 2000. It's going to be awesome, time on a Norwegian cruise line. And I was at my fattest, 275, triple XL shirt, size 44 pants. my knees were so bad at the time that even sitting, they were like throbbing with pain. And I had these moments throughout the cruise where, like everybody else they have their shirts off, they're wearing, bikinis or swimsuits and enjoying the sun. And I was there, fully clothed, miserable. And I would tell people that I was allergic to chlorine so that I had an excuse for not swimming.
Wow.
Or like doing what everybody else did, having their shirt, because I was so embarrassed of my body. And when you do a cruise, you take a boarding photo, and after you come back from the trip, they give you the photos. And I saw this picture of myself, man, where I'm not even looking at the camera. I'm working on like a third or fourth chin. I look miserable. I'm like 17. This is not how my life is supposed to be. And I saw that photo, and it just unleashed a series of changes. I know you had mentioned the audience. A lot of them are kind of on the fence whether they want to start or just starting their fitness journey. And for me, it really was, and it is for everyone, the low-hanging fruit. I just looked at the diet, and I was eating like a loaf of bread at every meal. I was having so many liquid calories, milk and juice, and 7 regular sodas a day. Wow. So just from the dietary standpoint, I just said I'm going to cut out liquid calories, and I'm just going to stop eating bread. And I lost 50 pounds, and it basically unleashed this series of steps that had completely changed my life. It launched a new career. It allowed me to play football at a high enough level that I went to a really good college where I met my wife. But I think of like what had happened if I had not made those changes, if I had stayed on the fence or if I had walked away from the fence. So it's amazing, man. And I know personally what fitness can do in your life. It isn't about the muscles and the aesthetics and the abs. It's really a vehicle to unlock the next level in every other aspect in your life if you allow it to be.
Yeah. One part of your journey that I wanted to kind of pick your brain about, because it's something like there's potential this could turn into a therapy session for me. I'm just gonna put that out there. So, as somebody else that's gone through a major transformation journey, do you feel like any of that mindset still lingers? Like, do you ever feel weird about like taking your shirt off now still? You mentioned it that, in your previous body, you were nervous about that, but does any of that still linger? Because I still feel that way. Like I take my shirt off and I feel like, we're fitness professionals and there's this stigma about that. Like we should look a certain way. And if we don't, do I look that way? Do I represent the fitness guru guy right now or not? So does any of that linger with you still?
You can lose the fat, but you can't get rid of the fat guy. And that is something that I want to be very upfront about to people, because you think, make all these changes. They're scars. And part of it too, man, what's so hilarious is, well, it's not hilarious, but it's really about when you were fat. If you were fat in your developmental years, you will always be uncomfortable taking your shirt off. You will always have these insecurities about your weight. Now, if you were like really lean and good looking and in good shape growing up, like you see this, like these guys now, like in their 40s, they're overweight, they have beer bellies, they still think they look the way they used to. Yeah. You look at these Europeans, like these dudes, huge bellies on the beach wearing fucking Speedos. Like, I'm in pretty good shape. I'd never wear a fucking Speedo. I'm like, how can I get to the point where I'm like that guy who gives 0 fucks on the beach in Europe or now in the beaches of America as they bring their beautiful bodies to our shores? So, this is just part of the process. And again, it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because I'll always have humility, as will you. No matter how like good you get or how much improvements you make, you'll always never be complacent, because unfortunately you'll see more of the negative than the positive. And it forces you also to make changes early enough in your life that, you can't just depend on good genetics or metabolism, because at some point, all of us, no matter how good the genetics, how good the metabolism, it will hit you at some point. Maybe for some people, it's in their 70s instead of like their 20s. Right. But, you're going to have to make these changes anyway and learn about them if you want to have a long life and quality of life. So, yeah, I hate taking my shirt off. When I was the fitness director for Men's Health, where I basically spent 2 years shirtless, every day I had to do it. It's so uncomfortable for me. But I knew, because you would actually see how much better the shirtless stuff and the short stuff did shirted content and that type of thing. I still don't like people touching my midsection. Like even my wife, we've been together 15 years. We have had sex. And I don't like her touching my stomach or like my middle area. I always, just my natural reaction is to push it away, because when kids used to make fun of me, they would grab my fat and squeeze it. So it is part of it, and it can get better. But again, scars soften; they never go away.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. That's a big deal, because I feel like people will see somebody like you in a magazine or a magazine cover, and they just assume, oh, that dude just, is rock solid mindset. So I think that there needs to be more of that relatability. I call it like the people's champs of fitness. The person that's like, oh, that guy's just like me. He doesn't like somebody grabbing his stomach, and that's the way I feel too. So with fitness in general, you've been at the highest level with Men's Health and all this. What do you feel like is kind of going wrong with the way fitness is being promoted? But I also want to talk about what you think is going well. But first, like I definitely feel like that relatable, that ability for the average Joe to say, oh, I can do what that guy did or that woman did. I feel like that there's a little bit of a disconnect going on right there. But how do you feel about the industry in general, how things are being promoted, and what we need to do to fix it?
Well, I think one of the big things that's going wrong is that trainers or fitness professionals are too concerned with making content for other trainers and fitness professionals instead of the people that need the help the most. So like, they're afraid to share simplified concepts and stuff that isn't super exciting because they don't think it is, because they've been doing it long enough, and they want to go on to the advanced shit that, like, the backflips and the plyo pull-ups and the stuff that like nobody can do. And one of the big valuable lessons I had in the 7 years I consulted for Men's Health and the 2 years I was their fitness director is that the basics are never too basic. People are still trying to figure out how to do a push-up. They're still trying to figure out what type of meals make sense to burn fat and boost metabolism and build muscle. And most people are at the starting stage of all of this. So, forgetting about making content for your peers and remembering what was it like when I was trying to get started, when I saw that picture and I didn't know what to do. And so I'm a big fan of the low-hanging fruit. Like, most people are in pain, right? So one of my favorite things that I do is called #Netflix and Stretch. And it's something that, look, you're going to be binge watching TV tonight anyway. There are stretches that take 5 or 10 minutes, foam rolling massage drills that you can do right in front of the TV. And people have really responded to that because, again, like, if anything, it helps you feel a little bit better about the fact that you're watching TV for 8 hours, right? So at least let's get you out of knee pain, do this quad stretch. And I shoot a lot of content. I was forced to actually for a year after I left Men's Health and started the dailybj.com. I just shoot in this, we had one more year in the lease before we were going to move to California. So I had to be like shooting in our living room, and I converted our master bedroom into our gym. And I was doing fucking pull-ups in my wife's bathroom.
Yes.
I was like, there's no way people are going to like this stuff, because I was doing all the highly produced Men's Health stuff, 3 camera shoots, beautiful lighting, and everything looked like, it's a dingy apartment. But people were like, wow, this is great, because people need to see exactly where you are. You can't show a home workout in a gym, right? The disconnect for people is too big. So, I do the best I can to show the accessibility, the relatability. And I think the other thing too is people are very wary of the vulnerability, especially guys, right? Like, I'm willing to share everything, even the emotional stuff of what I do, and also the fact that I'm not a fucking robot. I always go back to that Rocky IV quote where he's, he's a man, he's not a machine, because he bleeds, because no one wants to see your chicken and broccoli. Yeah, I mean, I'll still show like my good protein. That's everything to low-hanging fruit, right? So I'm a big advocate. I can simplify diet for you in 3 words: protein, produce, water. If 80% of what you eat on a weekly basis is those 3 things, focused on those 3 things, you'll make, great progress. We don't have to complicate this stuff. This is the age of biohacking where, I listened to a podcast recently, and it was about this guy's daily schedule, and it was 45 minutes into the podcast, and it was still fucking 9 a.m. It was 9 a.m. Like, he was still doing like this laundry list of, like, this is not helping people. People don't need this. So, but the willingness to like share. Look, I love fries. I love pizza. I'm not a robot, and I'm willing to not be as shredded as I probably could be. for the quality of life and the fact that I just love food. I'm a fat guy faking it as a fit guy. I can't get rid of that part of my life. I don't want to push that away because that's part of what I really enjoy. So, I show that, and I show the struggle, but I also show the fun. And I think people think you have to have an eating disorder or, be super gifted or train 3 hours a day to look fit. And it isn't the case, especially if you're willing to be consistent with it.
Yeah, I've been making the journey through your social media, and my God, your Instagram is awesome. I just cracked up at the donkey calf raise post you just put up. Amazing technique on the spotting. I mean, it was really, really good.
Look, I take my spotting seriously. It's funny too. I'll touch on that too. And I'm also it's an age where there's so many fitness experts, right? Everybody's a fitness. I see this. Someone sent me this picture. Do you think I can look like this guy? And I go to this guy's page, and he's like 22, shredded, definitely taking like 3 or 4 different types of drugs. And he's got 1 million followers, and he's selling a fat loss program. He's 22. His balls just dropped last week. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So you have to be willing to now do a ton of things, not just be really good at what you do, not just be a good speaker, a good writer, a good marketer. You've got to be willing to really do things to break through the noise. So I like to do a lot of fun and ridiculous shit. I do it knowing that oftentimes, like every time I do a post like that, I lose 500 to 1,000 followers. But that's good because I like to thin the herd. Those people that unfollow me because they're such tight asses or snowflakes about certain things that I do, they're not really engaged in my stuff anyway. So they're not my people. They're not the people I'm trying to reach. So, you have to be so diverse with your content. And if you want to get eyes on your stuff, a lot of times it's stuff you have to do that, others in the industry that are like me are like, he's so unprofessional. He's, well, look, man, if that's what gets people into my Netflix and Stretch stuff or the protein and produce type of meals or that home workout, great. And I have a lot of people that say, I saw you from the Valentine's Day Cupid video where you were wearing a diaper and shooting a fake harp and doing all these exercises. And I'm like, that's exactly where I want you to start with me.
Yeah.
Cause then I know you really like the stuff that I'm sharing.
Yeah, it's you being you and letting your personality shine and not playing the role of personal trainer or fitness guru. It's just, yeah, I at my gym, one of my most successful marketing techniques is to make stupid videos of I did a training montage on how to train people on how to welcome people to our gym. So it was welcome to the welcome wagon was what I called it. And we won some award on YouTube about, a fitness video. I'm like, you don't know, this was completely made up and ridiculous. You're supposed to be laughing at, and then we had some towels made up and we did a rally towel thing with lots of tiger sounds. And I would pop up and people's performance would increase by 12% because I'm rally toweling them. I'm selling the $5 towel. So, I'm in the same vein there. And it's, I feel like, the industry, again, needs that relatability. It needs people that aren't taking themselves so seriously because there's so much emotional baggage that comes along in fitness and body transformation. And we need people to chill out and relax, take some pressure off themselves. Like you said, focus on the low-hanging fruit and actually maybe enjoy themselves a little bit along the way. So that's why I think we're two peas in a pod there.
Look, man, vanilla is a great flavor, right? I eat vanilla too, but occasionally we got to throw in some fucking sparkles and some sprinkles, I should say. Sparkles is my unicorn kiddie pool in the backyard, by the way, in the Garden of Gaines. And I'm actually looking at her right now as we're doing this Skype. It's really, sometimes I look and she looks at me and it's magic. But yeah, we don't need one thing too, most trainers, their goal is to show you, I remember this, a client comes in, and I would do this when I just getting started too, because, you're trying to do your best and you really care about people, but you initially are like, here's what's wrong with you. It's you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't, and at the end of this, I'm like, wow, I'm a fucking disaster. Or you got to do all this corrective stuff before you get started, and we got to make this so complicated. And the reality is the human body, we can make a lot of changes, but people are going to be okay. It's okay if the technique isn't amazing on day one. In fact, a lot of cases, the big issue with fitness right now too is, again, especially this is a landmine, but you know what? I'll step into it. The CrossFit era where, people are going from 0 to 1,000 with barbells, with no rest. A lot of it is exercise selection. I really pride myself in finding the safest, low skill, low impact, accessible exercise selections that the worst case scenarios are not catastrophic. Like, you might get an overuse injury. Anything can happen, but you're not going to die. Like, people die bench pressing every year. People blow out their backs, back squatting. It's really hard to do that, on a body weight lunge. Worst thing that happens on a push-up is you don't come back up from the floor. It's a pretty safe, negative result, right? So I like to put people in situations where you can kind of safely suffer, in that the catastrophic or the worst case scenarios are not catastrophic. So that's really the issue, right? Like, people don't know what to do. They're afraid. They're in pain. It's too complex. They don't think they have enough time. And then you start to strip all that away, and you start to, I can stretch while I'm watching TV. It's just, meats and fruit and vegetable. It's not too difficult. And maybe I'll just do like 10 minutes of push-ups, squats, hip thrusts, and lunges, to start my day and see how that goes for a couple weeks. Maybe it's 15 minutes in month 2. So, a lot of this stuff, and mind you, by the way, like, my key to success, all the mistakes I've made, and even all of them, by the way, and multiple times, I have not missed a workout since I was 14 years old, since the first workout I did. Consistency is the most anabolic substance you can put in your body. It's the most anabolic substance you can give to your business, your professional life. And I've always said, if you keep showing up, eventually the last person left in the room.
Love it. I love it. So we talked about some of the stuff that we thought was going wrong, that we're messing up. What do you like you said, there's a lot of cool stuff happening. We can get overwhelmed with it. We have to kind of weed things out. But what is something that you're like, this is cool, this is something new that's happening, or this is a trend in fitness, and you're kind of psyched about it?
Well, I think more than ever, I've never seen so many trainers. Like, everybody's a fucking trainer now, because what happens is you lose a little weight, you get excited, and like, oh, I want to help other people do this, because it's like playtime, and you realize, holy shit, it's not. Yeah. It's basically babysitting with push-ups and squats mixed in, and anything you do that you enjoy, once it becomes a job or career, right, it's not going to be as exciting as, the new girlfriend or new boyfriend or the shiny new object, right? So, that's one thing. I at least once a week, someone messages me and is like, I'm thinking of being a personal trainer. Do you have any advice for me? And I say, don't fucking do it. Because it is so hard, man. I don't know. If I was starting over again, I don't think I would choose the career path, because I just know how hard the last 15 years have been. And even being as consistent as I was, I had to get lucky at several steps along the way to stay in it, because there's so many times I wanted to quit. It's a brutal industry that just chews people up and spits them out. Very few last more than 3 years. If you can get past 5 years, you're already elite. And the fact that I've been able to do this for 15 years, and I look forward to doing it longer now at this point. So it's really tough. So there's so many, it's so crowded. And now more than ever, we're in a situation where it really is like, it's entirely about how you look. Yeah. Because we're in the Instagram age. So there's so many really good minds out there that just don't have that look. They'll never have it. Even if they took drugs and got surgery, they just, there's a certain, set point that some of these people are working with that is just way above everyone else. And really the consumer their mindset has, like, the IQ of the fitness consumer has improved 10 points the last decade, but it was really low a decade ago. So we're still not super smart about things. And so really it is up more to the consumer to understand that, the person you're following, hopefully they're not, they look the part a little bit, they walk the walk, they engage in the lifestyle, but, six-pack abs should not be the definition of whether or not that person's advice is worth following. So, and yeah, you could say, well, the trainers have to educate more. No, it's the fitness consumer itself has to take control of their their workouts and their fitness programming too, right? And then that's a big part of it. So by, following people who definitely take drugs and definitely get surgeries and say, get this butt, get this butt. They have no hamstrings, by the way, like 0 hamstrings and a huge ass. How is that possible? I mean, literally, like, this is an important point. Like, it's impossible to build a butt, a good butt, without the hamstrings coming along, because they work in hip extension. They work together in so many key movements. So, there's a number. If you're a lady watching, and some dudes like to work the ass too, but we're in the age of glutes for women now, where I'll have women say to me, I just want to build my butt, but I don't want strong legs. So I say, what I want you to do is just do hip thrusts and glute bridges, and then have someone carry you to places between sets. So you don't use any other leg musculature whatsoever, right? So, that's part of it too, is, you want to follow someone. Again, you don't have to be fat to know how to lose fat, but I will say, from an empathy standpoint, it certainly helps.
Yep. I agree on that, brother. God. So I just recently started a new hashtag, which I'm gonna get you into the challenge. I call it my hashtag stupid exercise challenge.
Okay.
And the idea, and I'll bring this around. This is gonna connect. Trust me. The idea is to what I call combine-a-size. In your best fitness expert guru, Instagram video, you combine a size and explain 2 exercises that should never be safely combined by anyone ever, and you put them together, and then you explain it and use made up terms like your upper loins and your inner dorsimus and things like that. But you have to straight face it and then post the video, and then we hashtag it. And I'm building a Rolodex of trainers doing this so that it encourages them to not take themselves too seriously. But the one that I came up with recently may be the answer for the glute only gain. I filmed a video. Now it'll already come out before this episode comes out, so I'm safe. And I'm not, doing a spoiler alert. I'm doing a video where I clinch a 10-pound plate between my butt cheeks, and I do my explanation. I call it the mic drop, and then I release, and then the plate drops out. So that's one of the stupid exercise challenges that's coming to Instagram near you. But otherwise, I don't know how that works.
I'm actually holding a weight plate between my ass right now. It's funny you mention it. I look forward to seeing that.
But it's a 45 probably for you. That's
35. It's like I said, consistency and gradual progressive overload is the key to my success.
Yes. The glute power. So,
yes.
So one of the things I want to pick your brain about is, we talked about trainers. What do you feel like separates the good from the bad? I get this question all the time of, I'm looking for a trainer. I'm looking for somebody to coach me. There's so much out there. How do we know, what's just a quick filter of, okay, you see this, avoid. You see this, look further, or look deeper into it. What would that look like for you?
So let me ask you this, and I'm sure listeners, this is going to really help them in figuring out, making their decision of who they're going to work with. Best trainer in the world, worst trainer in the world. They both get a client, and each of those clients has to work out for an hour, and basically they're moving for most of the hour, doing different things. The top trainer in the world is using the greatest exercise, the greatest programming, the cutting edge mobility drills never seen before in the history of man. At the end of that hour, if they're moving for most of the hour and doing a variety of things, how different do you think the result will be?
It'll be negligible.
Right. I mean, okay, you could say over the course of a long period of time, maybe less injuries, you squeeze out some more gains, whatever. But, that's really, I think, where most trainers fail, right? Is that they don't realize it's about messaging, and it's about you. That's why I think all this artificial intelligence technology stuff is just never going to work in fitness, because it is an entirely personality-based industry. Jack LaLanne, Billy Blanks, Jillian Michaels, Richard Simmons. These are people that broke through and became household names because of who they were inside, right? And the exercise was an afterthought. Not that entertainment is the only thing, but people do need the entertainment, frankly. We're in a really depressing, tough time globally. People need distractions, and if you can distract them and make them laugh and still give them the exercise and nutrition advice that they need, that's where I think you'll have the most success. So they buy into you. They don't buy into your program. And I think that is where trainers spend so much fucking time worrying about, look, every day I'm trying to learn new stuff, and I'm following other people that I respect and learning from them and all that stuff. But if you're not focusing on your message and your communication and your branding, because by the way, that's why being a trainer is so hard. You have to be an entrepreneur, even if you don't even have your own business. You're a trainer at a club. You have to be an entrepreneur because you have to know how to brand yourself to be different than the other people that are at that gym. Why would they want to work with you? Because they're all doing the same shit. They're literally on the same training floor with the same equipment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what's so unique, I think, about this space is that people want to, I just want to make it about the training. Okay, well, then you're going to train 10 people for the rest of your life. And that's fine. And again, that's one thing, too, is you don't have to have 1 million people that follow you. It's about how deeply you're impacting the people that do follow you, without a doubt. But most of us want to have a big impact in this life, and we want to scale what we do. And if you're just a body or just a mind, in terms of I know a lot of stuff or I look amazing, but you have no idea how to communicate to people, how to do the stuff that you're talking about, good luck. So that really is the big disconnect. And it's also being okay with the fact that, and it's why I do my own podcast with other guests who, like, you could say, well, why would you want to, he has a membership program too. But like, look, a lot of people are just not going to like me. They don't like maybe the way I look. My nose and head is too big. They don't like the way I speak. But if I can at least turn them on to someone whose personality does resonate with them, I'll take the hockey assist because, frankly, the changes they'll make with that individual, he or she, whoever it is, I spark that, right? So, and that's part of it too. We're so cutthroat. I go to, I do this exercise every time I meet a new trainer. I'm like, do you know who this is? And I wait, and they're like, I fucking hate that guy. I mean, every one of these fucking people, they hate each other. They're grudge. Like, I don't have this issue as much because I sold my gym a long time ago, and like I compete in a space of one with the dailybj.com. There's not a trainer in the world that can replicate my business model because it is entirely me. I've accepted and embraced that if I die tomorrow, my business dies, and I'm fine with that. My wife might be in trouble, though she got more life insurance than I did in our policies. So I think she'll be okay. She's also a really successful writer. But, so they're all competing with each other instead of, again, adopting this mindset. I'm just going to compete in a space of one, create something so unique, so, intrinsically linked to my own DNA that nobody else can replicate anyway. So what's there to compete about? Let's elevate each other. Let's collaborate. And when I see a fucking trainer knocking another trainer publicly on social media and stuff like that, I see that person like, this person will never be successful. They will rot in obscurity forever because they just don't get it. Someone, whoever it is, I don't care if you're in fitness, whatever you do in your career, anybody you see that is above you, for the most part, they're there for a reason. It's not by accident. Yeah, they may have gotten more opportunities. There may have been a timing thing for sure. Some people just inherently have more resources. There certainly is nepotism and legacy involved in a lot of things that we do. But in most cases, they just are better. They've done it longer. They have more experience. And I used to say when I was younger and like, oh, why is he or she, I should be on that platform. Like, no, I wasn't ready for it. I just wasn't good enough at the time. I didn't develop enough skills to be there. And if anything, I was lucky that I wasn't given an opportunity that I wasn't ready for because I would have fucking blown it. And these are just things you have to realize along the way. So I think the hyper-competitive nature of it, everybody talks shit. People don't like to help each other out. And, it's a disaster in that sense because then from the fitness consumer standpoint, because they have to create these programs that have like, there's always, 4 or 5 numbers. There's like a letter and then a couple numbers, right? That's the key. Every fitness program in the fucking world.
Yes.
Has a letter and a number. And, so and it's like, which one do I do? Do I do the Z54 shred, or do I do, and then sometimes they go to like Greco-Roman Roman numerals too. It gets really fucking confusing, man. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah, that's the secret sauce to fitness domination is the formula you just described. That's awesome. Now, I totally agree with you. The ego thing ruins fitness, and it that's one of the things I love about podcasting is because I feel like it's different. The pissing contest it's not there. There's a lot of ego in fitness because that's kind of built in. But the thing I really love, especially about this, it's kind of like a second wave of podcasting that I feel like I'm a part of. People have been kind of getting their show going in the last few years. We're all like, yeah, let's come on my show. Let's promote each other's stuff. Let's talk about what you've got. We talk about what I've got. And everybody's just like cool as hell about just building each other up and getting our messages out there to each other's audiences. And I think that it's something that's really got me jazzed about somebody like you that has giant Instagram following and Men's Health director and all this stuff, and it took one email and you're like, yeah, dude, let's do this. Let's get on the show and talk. So I think that it's got me pretty psyched about where podcasting is going. Let's talk about your podcast a little bit and what you've got going there, because I know you got a growing show and you bring your personality, your own unique message. So what are you psyched about in the area of your podcast and podcasting in general?
Well, I sing the intro to my podcast as well. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's at least 4 or 5 dogs die every time someone plays that episode or a episode. And, for me, it's an opportunity, like you said, to me, podcasting really exposes, right? Anybody, especially in your 20s, can get lean enough and then shoot some fitness videos without speaking, right? But then you get someone on to talk for more than a minute about any topic, and you'll find out quickly if this person is worth following. Right. And so, that's what I love about that. So if I get someone on a podcast, it's because I really respect them, and people that follow me know that this is someone that's definitely worth checking out, learning from, and just seeing if you can add a couple golden nuggets from their experience. And I just love sharing stories, man, because there's an origin story to all of this, right? Either you were fat or you were hurt, or, there was something it's like, what problem did you have you overcame to get to where you are today? And I think, there's this beauty in the story. And I think that's how people really learn and internalize a lot of this stuff. It's not through, research or studies. It's through stories. And not that the research or studies aren't important. It's just, we just know that storytelling is really what gets people into, the mindset of really listening and taking things all the way in. So, I get good guests on. We have fun. It sounds probably a lot like this podcast, where it's conversational, very informal, highly unprofessional at times. But you will come away with some good golden nuggets. And again, I try to simplify things as much as possible and cut through the bullshit. And there really is. I get blown away. Like, someone's asking me. I do these Instagram live Q&As. I start like really in a good mood. By the end of it, like, I'm sweating, I'm fucking beat red. I'm so mad because all the I'll get a question like this. What do you think about keto and intermittent fasting while doing CrossFit? By the way, like, that person is the worst. Like, if I'm trying to create like the prototype of the worst person to deal with in the history of the world, it's that dude who's doing all 3 of those things in combination. Or like, do you think apple cider vinegar is the key to belly fat loss? Number 1 question at Men's Health: how to lose belly fat. You might as well just ask me how to solve peace in the Middle East. I mean, there's so, I don't even know who you are. I don't know what you're currently doing. Like, how can I possibly answer that question for you without knowing? I don't know what you like to do. I don't know what equipment you have access to. But people want the one-word answer, and for some reason, if it comes in liquid or pill form, they love it. They want to get involved. That's the first question. What supplements do you take?
Yeah. It's that quick fix. Like you said earlier, that's that hack. We're in that hack mentality. How do I hack my way to the shortcut to fitness? And we lose all that mental progress. I'm big on solving danger zones. I describe the transformation as a long pathway, and there's your goal on one end, you're on the other end, there's a big hole in the middle. It doesn't matter the modality of travel. If you ride a bike, you end up in the hole. If you drive a car, you end up in the hole. Let's fix the hole, and then it doesn't matter if you're doing CrossFit or paleo or clean eating or whatever, if you still stress eat all the time, and that's where you crash and burn. So let's fix that. That's something that I'm interested with you, with your journey, maybe even still to this day. What are your danger zones or your tripping points? You're like, ooh, I stress eat, or if I do something, then I tend to lose focus on my program, or injury maybe. Anything like that that pops up either in your transformation history or still to this day?
You know what's really important? You got to know yourself. So I am very, and you know, I played football. I played football in college. I was a captain at every level that I played, and especially when it came to issues of weight room performance, very competitive. And most of the injuries I have, so I've got now this new backyard I call the Garden of Gains. It's like a 15-year dream come true. Like honestly, I think better than Muscle Beach in my opinion, because it's private and I have all the cool tools back there. But I had my first ever training partner swing by, my buddy from childhood. And, you know, like I look back and like most of my injuries are because of that fucking guy. Because like we were constantly competing and like putting weights on the bar that just had no business. And we somehow found a way every day to not die and add 10 pounds to the bar. And so I train alone, and a lot of people like get offended, like, oh, I want to work out with you. I'm like, sorry, man, or whoever you are. I don't do that because I'm a man in the mirror type of person at this point. I put the blinders on. I don't want to be distracted, and I don't want to compete. And you know, because it really becomes like a dick measuring contest, and that's not what fitness is. Fitness is man in the mirror, woman in the mirror. It's how can I get a little bit better today? And how can I snowball that for the rest of my life? Because it really is a lifelong journey. It's amazing how long into your life I see people in their 50s and 60s, 70s still making some improvements because of the consistency, right? So, you know, that's a really important piece. The other end of it, I lost my train of thought slightly.
So your own danger zones, anything that messes you up, obviously like the pissing contest thing, the male ego, we all deal with that. Yeah. Anything else?
Yes, anxiety. So, and this is where I hate people that say, "Oh, looks like you do keto," because I had a steak and vegetables. It's like, well, no, don't. I'm not going to let you put that into a box, because when you put that shit into a box, when it's outside of the box, you panic and you don't know what to do. So, you know, that's the thing. Like, even to this day, my body type is such that I'm going to do better on, you know, a meat and vegetable diet. And I don't really do super well with high carbohydrate stuff like starches and stuff like that. I don't do great with it. I do a lot better with it now than I used to because of how much more muscle mass I have. And the funny thing about it is kind of the rich keep getting richer. The leaner you get, the more muscle you have, the better carbohydrate tolerance you have. That really is, by the way, the carrot at the end of this. Like, you want to really enjoy your weekends, start piling on some muscle mass and some consistent lean eating. And it's amazing. I'm 35. I can get away with more now than I could in my early 20s, just because of my metabolism now. It's supposed to be going down, but I keep adding muscle mass over the years, and it's made a big difference for me. So, but still have a little anxiety around carbohydrate. You know, knowing that we know the research is very clear. You take any fucking diet and you put it head to head with the other diet, and if the calories are the same, the outcome, especially over the long term, will be identical. Low carb diets have a better weight loss outcome in the short term, but the studies show long term identical results and typically burnout, right? Because they put you in situations where, you know, protein and produce is great because it simplifies, right? But then at the same time, it can possibly create some anxiety because, well, this rice isn't a produce or a protein technically, so it's bad. That's not necessarily bad, right? So good food, bad food is an issue. There certainly are bad foods in the sense that if they're, you know, chemically made, synthetically made, though, and, you know, some of the synthetically made stuff is helping us out, like a soda like Zevia that, you know, is sweetened with stevia. Yeah, it's made up in a lab, but if you're choosing that over regular soda, you know, you're probably, skimping out on diabetes, which is a great thing, right? So this is the whole thing. Being able to think critically, know that there isn't good food or bad foods or necessarily good movements or bad movements even. Like a leg extension, you know, was made into the worst possible exercise for your knees. When in reality, if you think about what the quadriceps do, one of the main functions is extending at the knee. And that's what you do on a leg extension. So if that's so bad for you, the quads are fucked, right? It's about the load you're using. It's about the technique you're using, and the same thing with food. So that's something I'm still working on. I'm getting a lot better with, like, a little extra fruit, no big deal. As long as my portions are locked in, it really isn't going to make that big of a difference. And I think a lot of us are thinking ourselves fat because, and I used to do this. Like I would get like butterflies and pain in my stomach when having like a cheat meal, or I call it a fuck it meal because it's exactly what you would say when it happens, right?
Yeah.
But part of it too is going from fuck it meals where it's like, the burger and bun, the fries, and the shake to what I call a flex meal, meaning it's the same meal you typically have, but I'm gonna flex in one area. I'm gonna have fries, but I'm still gonna get the lettuce wraps on my burgers because frankly, the bun doesn't do much for me. If anything, I can have more fries, and I'm not gonna get the shake because then I'm not trying to get sloppy as fuck here. I'm trying to treat myself and reward myself, and there's anxiety too with that, right? If it's a cheat meal, I've got to get in as much as possible. I gained 35 pounds in 5 days once. Yeah. Try to top that. All right. It was after a bodybuilding show. I went 6 weeks, pretty much keto, which is again why it's such a terrible fucking idea. Let me know if you know anyone who does keto for more than a year. It's not possible. And if they do, they're taking ketogenic substances, supplements to help deal with what they call keto flu. I mean, come on. Anything that makes you have to piss on something to see if you're doing it right is probably not a good long-term strategy. Or they're pushing like a keto diet book, right? So you've got to consider all trainers, myself included, right? If I'm a fat guy, most of my advice is going to be around that experience, right? So the nutrition I share, the workouts I share, they're probably going to be better suited for someone of my body type and someone of my experiences. And you have to know that in who you're working with, which is why you should never have one expert you follow. And you should never allow yourself to be boxed into paleo, keto, CrossFit, create your own style, blend it to your personality. And so my biggest thing, man, is, and I tell my members of the dailybj.com, I'd rather you lose 2 less pounds in the next 12 weeks, but be ready to run the next race versus limping to the finish line, which is all these programs, by the way, right? Have you limping to the finish line. I've only got 1 week left. And then I can go back to normal. And then, yeah, you can go back to normal and gain it all back.
Right.
Or literally limping, meaning like you see these people that like, oh, here's a great idea. I'm overweight. I'm gonna run a fucking marathon. What a great idea. I'm going to run 25 miles with a weight vest. And I'm going to have to do the training to get there so I don't, I can finish. And I'm going to basically develop tendonitis in my knees. And then I'm going to hate fitness and associate fitness with pain. That's what it is. Like, fitness is pain. We have this mindset that it has to be so fucking hard. And if I'm not pissing protein or blood the next day, I must not have done it right. If I can walk, your workouts suck. Versus like, you know what? Let's put the minimal amount of work in needed to get the training effect we're looking for. That's something we can build upon. And so it's a total paradigm and mind shift that I think a lot of people need to be willing to let themselves get through. And for me, I think the biggest thing we have to do is take all the anxiety out of it. Like, not every one of your workouts you should not have butterflies in your stomach for. That's not fucking fitness. Sometimes you're just going to go in and have some fun. Maybe it's straight arms. It's a straight bro session. Like, but if you enjoy that, and I mean, look, nothing wrong with a little extra arm work, right? And if you can have a drink or some fries or a pizza, and maybe you lose 2 less pounds in 12 weeks, but you can be consistent with that plan long term, fucking do it.
I love it, man. I feel like we could go for another hour talking about this topic alone. Just all the anxiety, the mindset, people enjoying it versus people like force feeding themselves fitness. But I want to make sure that I'm respectful of your time. But I want to make sure people can connect. You mentioned the Daily BJ, the website. We've got the podcast, the Weekly BJ, and I'm glad that I nailed that specifically. But what's the best way to connect? Is it the website? I know your Instagram is off the hook. I'll definitely link that up because you guys have to follow BJ on Instagram. It's just if you want to be a subscriber to my podcast, you have to follow BJ's Instagram because it's that damn good. But how else can people connect to you?
Well, I used to be on Grindr, not anymore. And I am BJ Gaddour, BJGADDOUR on all things social media. I like to think I share daily stuff that is useful, mixed with some stuff that probably isn't. So I keep you honest that way. My website is thedailybj.com, hashtag not a porn site, hashtag not a porn site yet. It's a legitimate plan B if things don't go well for me. Look, that's part of good business, my friend. You got to think about the Plan B podcast. What happens when they lose £1 million?
Right.
The £1 billion mission.
The 2 million pound porn cast. I mean, you go to porn is the next, it's the natural fitness progression.
It is. By the way, the only business model that has worked through all the recessions. So look, it's just one of those things. You can't deny the proof is in the pudding.
Sex wins every time. That's how it is.
Better believe it.
All right, BJ, before I let you go, I like to put my audience into action. All right, I like to give them something that they can leave with. Obviously, you've made us laugh. You've entertained us. You've made us cry. We've got some emotional connection experiences. But what would you say? There's somebody out there that's just like, okay, it's hit me. I realize I need to get going. I'm a little bit nervous, but I need to get started, but I don't know where to start. What's something simple that they can do just to get the ball rolling? What would you suggest to that person?
Follow my account at BJ Gaddour and start doing Netflix and stretch. The most important thing, because we're desk bound, we have poor posture, things are tight and things hurt. Why would we want to move, right? Let's get out of pain. I know you're watching TV tonight. I don't know whether it's Luke Cage or hopefully it's not The Walking Dead. By the way, the most fucking overrated show ever. Okay.
Oh.
I mean, there is so much good TV out there right now. And the fact that that's like the most popular show in the world, I've got serious problems with that. Hopefully I didn't lose your whole listener base after that. Because I know how popular it is.
It broke my heart, man.
I know.
So what's your jam? What's your Netflix jam? What are you watching?
Man, we watch it all. I love TV. I'm passionate about it. I love to watch it seated upright, lying down on my left and right, even on the floor. So yeah, no, we honestly, man, like all the shows. I have HBO, Hulu, Netflix, FX, you name it. Right now, we've been doing some documentaries. The Staircase.
I'm watching that too, man. It's awesome.
Mind blowing. By the way, perfect. Again, it's such a compelling story. Like when you're stretching can be uncomfortable, right? When you're watching stuff like this, is so engaging. You don't even realize, oh my God, the stretch is over. It's very mentally distracting and it makes it not so bad. But again, that would be the first thing I would say is the Netflix and stretch. Start 8 out of 10 meals, make protein and produce based. A good protein source that's at least the size of your fist and some fruit and or vegetables with it. And then, the other 2 meals, work in some things that you really enjoy that allow it to make you a lifestyle. Those 2 things, man, it can get you going in the right direction quickly. Because, again, you get out of pain, and then what happens? You start going for a walk. Maybe I'll start, this 10-minute body weight circuit that burns fat. So that's the most important thing is start getting a good dietary foundation in place that will help you burn fat, build muscle, boost metabolism. That is protein and produce and water-based. And then let's get you out of pain. And from there, I think you start to unlock a lot of stuff. And don't be afraid to start thinking. So when I started this new podcast, like if I went into it like I'm going to be Tim Ferriss, come on. I went into it in 5 or 10 years. This could be a pretty good podcast. Who does that with their body?
Nobody.
But that's the whole thing. Like no one is going to think that way. So if you can just be consistent for 3 to 5 plus years with anything, it blows my mind with what people can accomplish. So stop thinking 21 days. Look, I've sold programs through Men's Health. That's a 21-day meta shred. And it's like, look, this is what people want. I get it. But, at thedailybj.com, it's a membership site. You're constantly running the next race. It doesn't stop. It's a journey, not a destination. And start thinking in terms of years, not days and weeks or even months with this whole process. Because again, we've got long lives to live. If you play your cards right, you're going to be 100 plus. So like, can you imagine how big the fucking biceps are going to be when you're 95? If you start today, all right, that's what I'm talking about.
Awesome. BJ, man, I just appreciate you for saying yes. Like I said, in the podcast sphere, I reach out to a lot of people that have larger audiences than me, and I get a lot of just crickets. So it was nice to get a reply in general, but the fact that you said yes so quickly, you came on and you rocked my audience's world. I love your personality. I love how real you are and how you're bringing reality to the fitness space and just a unique personality. And you're just being you. And people can like that or not, and that's that you're cool with that. So I feel like you're somebody that I want to follow in your footsteps, and you inspire me to be even more of the PhD, more of myself, and bring more of that personality out, and that we're allowed to do that, and we can be successful. So I appreciate you, my friend.
Well, dude, to be clear, the only reason I responded is because you sent me a dick pic. That was really what sealed the deal. By the way, I get at least one of those a week. I don't swing that way. I love all people. My little brother's gay. It's all good. But even if I did, I mean, do you honestly think that I mean, dudes are hilarious. Like, do you think that's going to work? Maybe it does. But look, man, you're doing great work. I try to respond to all the direct messages I get. It's not easy, as you know, as you're growing your stuff. I do the best I can. But man, anytime someone will let me come on and speak for almost an hour now, it's an honor. You're doing great stuff. You've got a great voice for the podcast, by the way. I think it's a gifted voice, and keep doing your thing, man. It's a pleasure, and you're impacting a lot of people.
Thank you, BJ. That means a lot to me, man. All right, everybody. We've got action steps. We've been inspired. We've laughed our asses off, but now it's time for action. What are you going to do in the next 24 hours to implement something that you learned here today and start building momentum? And that, my friends, is how we get out there. That's how we own it every meal, every workout, every day. I will see you on the next episode. All right. I hope you enjoyed that interview with BJ as much as I did. And as promised, I want to fill you in a little bit on my 8 marathon and 8-day challenge that is coming up. It is a Tibetan freedom walk. I'm walking with my good friend Kunga Norbu, who is the nephew of the Dalai Lama. If you want to get filled in on the backstory, because there is a great backstory to this, check out episode number 152 as to the reason why we're doing this. One little update to that episode, we were made aware by several highway patrol officers that it's probably not safe to walk along the highway. So instead of walking 200 miles from my hometown to Columbus, Ohio, we're going to do 8 marathons on walking trails in 8 different cities in 8 days. So we're still putting in 200 plus miles on our feet in 8 days, and I'm going to need you to cheer us on. The hub is going to be my Instagram account, Million Pound Mission on Instagram. Watch my stories, my posts, the IGTV videos. We're going to be going nuts, live casting, bring on special guests to help cheer me on, to keep me going. And also, if you are around any of these cities and you want to come and walk with us, that would be awesome. We aren't asking for any donations, nothing, but just positive mojo, attention. If you feel like telling somebody to check out one of our videos and help spread the message, that would be awesome. But we're going to be in Bloomington, Indiana. That's the launch on Thursday, September 27th. Then on Friday, we're going up to Indianapolis. Saturday, back to Bloomington for another round there. Then we head south to Kentucky. We're going on Sunday. We will be in Louisville. And on Monday, it is Lexington. Tuesday, Cincinnati. Wednesday, Dayton, Ohio. And then Thursday is Columbus, Ohio. We're finishing at the Summit of Greatness, that huge event with Lewis Howes there. And it's going to be amazing. We're just promoting the Tibetan culture and the preservation of their message and their people, and just trying to put some good mojo out there, a positive vibe story. And we'd love for you to follow along. Again, if you're around any of those cities and want to come walk with us, just send me a direct message on Instagram at Million Pound Mission, and I'll tell you where we're going to be, where we're starting, and just stay tuned to that Instagram page, and you'll be included on the full report from each day of the marathon challenge. I appreciate your support. As always, you guys are my inspiration to get out and do crazy things like this. So now I'm going to need you to help push me along, because it's going to be tough, but we're going to get it done. So I appreciate you guys, and I will see you on the next episode. All right, now hold on just 1 second before you take off. Have we gotten connected yet? Have we gotten social yet? I am loving, over the last few months, you guys have been reaching out to me. We've been connecting, And people have been sending me messages like, wow, you replied to my email, or you replied to my Instagram message, or wow, I got to ask you questions when you went live in your Facebook group or on Instagram. And that's like my main form of compensation right now. As you all know, I'm making like $4 a month from my podcast. So my main form of compensation is connecting with you guys, actually helping you and knowing that my message is connecting. So I want you to hit me up. I want you to follow me on Instagram at Million Pound Mission, or join my free Facebook group by going to defeatthecheat.com and join that rowdy crew. Those are the main two areas that I connect with people on social: Instagram at Million Pound Mission, and my Facebook group, defeatthecheat.com. That just reroutes you to be able to join the Facebook group. But I love to connect. So let's get connected. It's not just you listening, me and your earbuds. It's about going a little bit deeper so I can actually help you out. All right, that's what I'm here to do. And I look forward to connecting, my friends. Talk to you soon.